Alright, anyhow, let's talk about Heather's story here. So I'm going to be reading it as she posted it on Facebook. So this is what she said. So on with our story. Gosh, when I write about this, seems like I'm going right back there as if it were yesterday. I imagine it's really painful for her to relive all this stuff, and I'm sad that I had to ask her to do it, but I'm so thankful to her for being willing. As I had previously mentioned, we did not initially give up all our possessions with our car, being our only mode of confidential, or so we felt, way to converse between the two of us. It provided us with a means of freedom, including exit, or should I say escape, when it was time. We just had to figure out how to execute this departure as quickly as possible with the amount of least resistance. One thing that does come to mind as I recollect upon our experience is that while my husband was off working with the men and I was having a difficult time where I would just get this pain in my stomach or maybe some kind of gut-wrenching feeling that things were not what they claimed, and I would think or question myself that the reason I didn't have peace was either because I was dying to the flesh, or it was a new way of life that I was not accustomed to, or I was being paranoid, etc. As I discussed my concerns with my husband, initially it was a futile attempt. That was until the Bible study incident. After that, we basically just decided not to tell anyone what we were doing, or to just grab our clothes, sentimental items, and flee. One thing to note is that even though you may be provided with a room, it doesn't mean that it's private. It seems to have been moved or not quite the way we left it at times. And when my husband and I went off to discuss how we were going to leave, my husband came up, or God gave him the idea to place a very small wadded piece of paper in the door after we closed it. Sure enough, we came back to retrieve our belongings. The little piece of paper was on the floor. So not only did we believe that the phone lines and perhaps even our room was bugged, but now we had confirmation that they had been going through our stuff. Yeah, not good. Determined to exit as swiftly and non-confrontally as possible, we began throwing our bags in the car. At this point, the members who did see what we were doing approached us, displaying their true colors. Okay. What I mean by true colors is there were members who tried either A, to convince us to stay, basically saying that we were turning our back on God's people and going back into the world, and even went as far as stating we'd be thrown into the pit of fire. I do believe that these people were either totally brainwashed or duped into believing that lie by wanting to instill fear in us. And then there were B, the other members, who wished us well and didn't question why we were leaving. As a matter of fact, one individual, who was what we thought to be very respected in the community and household, said he would be very happy to give us a hand, except that he woke up that morning looking me dead in the eyes and said, "I would be happy to give you a hand, but I woke up this morning with a stiff neck," and asked me, you know what I mean. I about lost it. To this day, still to this day, it haunts me that there are such wonderful God-fearing people in such bondage. Now, let me take a prelude here, or whatever, interlude. I asked Heather what the whole thing with the stiff neck was, and she said she would, I guess, look further into that or whatever, because I wasn't sure if she remembered or didn't remember it, or I'm not sure. Anyways, I'm kind of wondering what that was all about. Were they beating people on the neck, or, what was going on? All right, back to the story. As a matter of fact, prior to us returning back to our house to get our stuff, we stopped at the cafe where Jonathan was working, as privately as possible pulled him aside. Don't think for a second all eyes were not on us. We apologized and stated that we hoped we didn't get him in trouble, but wanted to say goodbye and asked if he wanted to leave with us. He said he couldn't at this time, so for some reason something was keeping him there. My husband and I often discussed how great it would be to go back with a great big bus or something and try to help people leave if they wanted. I understand they claim you're always free to come and go as you please, so why then, when we were throwing our bags in our car, an elder's wife approached us, cupping her little girl's hand, and said to my husband, "Quick, you need to run down to the bee factory, the futon store, and get my husband because she cut her finger." Her daughter cut her finger. Thank God my husband, having been a certified EMT, previously asked to see it, and she would not show him. There were no signs of blood, and with her cooperating to get her daughter help, my husband told her to call down there and get him that way. It would be a whole lot quicker than my husband running down to retrieve him. What was up with that? My fear is that her knowing we were leaving and without her attempting to prevent that from happening, she may have had repercussions as a result. I pray not. With our babies and bags in the car, off we went to return home. And I tell you what, that was the first time since we had been out there that I finally had peace once more. Thanks be to God. All right, just a sec. Oh, remember how I told you I knew God was with us every step and it was truly Him that delivered us? Well, not only did my peace return, but while on the open road without it even raining, we saw one of the biggest, brightest rainbows that we drove under. It was like God was reminding us of His promise and how faithful He is. All right. So we're gonna end there. That's the end of her story. Basically, all she told me, and she's supposed to tell me more about the whole stiff neck thing if she can remember it. But as you can see, it was a very troubling experience to say the least. But they did get out after 9 days, which is more than I can say for a lot of other people. I think Kim was there for 4 years. So yeah, some people don't make it out quite as well like that. And we're thankful that she did and that she could share her story. Anyhow, if you're in an abusive situation, please tell a safe person. Get out if you can, and it's safe to do so. But if not, tell somebody. Let them know what's going on so that somebody's aware and can keep an eye on things. All right. If I can help you at all, my name or my email address is DelusionDispeller@gmail.com. And I'll work with you as far as payment goes, fees, whatever. I'm not all about the money. I'm about helping people. So if you need me, just let me know. All right. On that note, as I always say, eyes wide open, moving forward. And I hope everybody has a wonderful day, night, whatever it is there. And shalom.